Hey ho, and welcome to another Saturday morning Samoflange. Happy New Year's! Now, usually we do our top five movies we were interested in seeing. Yet this year, we're moving it back a week. We moved it back a week actually this past year, last year too. Now that I think about it, we did. And I wanted to talk about movies I saw on video. Or streaming, I should say. So they're not necessarily new movies. They were new to me. Some of these are new movies, but I thought they were really good. And one of them even would have been my number one movie, I think, of the whole year if I had seen it in theaters. And I definitely regret not seeing it in theaters. So let me go ahead and rank these last two here. I just noticed I ranked the top three and forgot to rank the top two there. So, yeah. Yeah, okay, I think I'm good. All right, so I have one. I look back through all the streaming on my streaming service, what all movies I watched. I knew three off the top of the bat. Top three I saw, so those are in there. And only remembered one. I was like, oh, yeah, that was a really good one. And then the more I started thinking about it, I was like, why did I even forget I saw that one? And, that was excellent. That was one of the other movies I thought, man, I should have seen that in theaters. So here we go. By the honorable mention, Running Man. I love Glenn Powell. It was a remake. I didn't hear anyone talk about it, and I don't remember. I remember the one with Arnold in it, and I just don't remember it that well, not liking it that much. And so I was like, it may be all right. I'll just watch it later. No, it's actually a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun watching it. I thought it was entertaining. I thought the action was good. I just love Glenn Powell. Now, once again, if Glenn Powell had not been in it, I don't know if it had been as good. This is like the second or third time I've seen a movie with him in it, and that I thought, wow, this movie would really suck if it didn't have him in it. Like Twisters. He made the movie Twisters for me. Twisters would have been just a generic, plain old, movie, regular movie, what you'd think in a lame reboot slash sequel. But his character was fun, and he made it fun. So for me, I thought it was pretty good. But either way, though, Running Man, Glenn Powell does a great job. It is worth your time to watch if you haven't checked it out already. If you like Glenn Powell, then definitely you should be watching it. But yay, he is my only runner-up, as they say. So what is next? Number five. Number five is one. Critical Drinker is someone that I've started watching a lot of, and I like his take on movies. And I disagree with him, too, at times, because he hated Running Man. He hated Running Man. I loved Running Man. However, when the Critical Drinker says, I recommend this movie, folks, you need to watch it. Like, there's two movies that he recommended, and both of them are on my top five. And so I will, when the Critical Drinker says this is good, and like other movies he's put up there going, like Falling Down, Michael Douglas, he said perfect 10 movie, excellent movie all the way around. And I agree. I think Falling Down is excellent. But I've seen Falling Down before, and I rewatched it after he said that, and watched it again with my nephew, and it's just a great movie. It's a superb from top to finish, just an excellent movie. But there's one he mentioned that my nephew liked until they went too far and said no thank you. This movie is called Whiteout. It's the newest one from 2019, I believe. The premise is, for whatever reason, we're never told, and it's not relative to the story, but this overweight office worker, American, who's working in Russia, gets arrested by the Russian, and again, he's by the Russian government, and he and a bunch of other Americans are thrown into a gulag. Okay? Now, some of these Americans he doesn't know, some he does, but he is working in the gulag. You're slaving away, never to see the light of day again. Well, some Americans that he doesn't know come up to him and say, hey, we hear you're an engineer, and they've been letting you get into the warden's room. Can you get us this? They're asking him to sneak him something. So he does. And that's whatever code or whatever he got for him is exactly what they needed to escape. And so in return for helping him out, they say you can come with us. I bet, by the way, spoilers all the way on this. So you may want to fast forward 5 minutes so you don't want to know what happens. But even if I do spoil the premise, I think it's still worth watching. So they take him with him. They break out, take him with him, and a few other escapees come with him too. And what they're trying to do, they got to hike 10, 15 miles in the snowy mountains to get to civilization, till they get to this railroad track and then someone can pick them up from there, and they'll be safe. So these guys are survival experts, right? They know how to survive in the wilderness. They packed enough food that they could for a few days hike, but as time is running out, they're running out of food. Then you find out why they bring the overweight guy. Yep. Yep, it's a cannibal movie. And it's so funny because they know, it's so funny, it's not that funny, but that he finds out that, yes, they're going to make you into food and they're going to eat off you. And yeah, you're the backup plan. If we get too hungry, if it takes too much farther, because hiking up and down mountains is what's taking forever. It's not the miles. You can walk 10 miles in a day. But when it's up and down, I think it's like 2 mountains, they have to get past 2 mountain ranges or whatnot. That's what's taking so long. So if they get too hungry, they're just going to eat him. And so the whole time he knows this, he's just trying to, he's kind of their prisoner now because he can't survive on his own. But they said, hey, even if we eat a little bit off you at a time, we can still keep you around if you can just make it to the end. And all of a sudden it just turns on a dime where one of them just, you think the guy is trying to weasel his way out. The whole time you're like, oh, please don't get eaten. Please don't get eaten. And then all of a sudden, some situation goes wrong. And they just cut a piece out of his arm right then and there and fry it and eat it. And, he blacks out, wakes up with a bandage over his arm. They're going to eat more of him later on, maybe some of his leg and whatnot, so he can still walk. They're going to eat his arms and back and chest and stuff first. But he may not be 100% whole, but if he makes it to the end, they promise they'll let him go. So this is his only way to survive, too. And that's when it got too real for my nephew. He doesn't do cannibalism very well, and it was pretty violent. For a movie that's not, it's more tension than violence. It was a little bit of a gory scene, not too much. But, my nephew had already eaten, so seeing people eat other people on screen was just not his cup of tea. So he was out. He admitted the movie was good, but when they started eating people, that's when he was out. So for me, what happens is, don't worry, it's going to end great. I mean, really good. Has a very strong ending where the fat guy gets, kind of his revenge by being smart and being an engineer and whatnot. And the movie pays off in the end. And it's a really great movie to watch. And I can highly recommend it because, well, first off, Critical Drinker recommended it, but I am too. Excellent movie. My number 5. Number 4, I did not see this in theaters. I saw the ads. I thought, this is going to be so stupid. But my nephew really wanted to watch it one day. So when it came on streaming, we watched my number 4, Sinners. And I was so wrong. Should have seen this movie in theaters. First off, of course, if you see the trailer, you already know. You already know the premise. These people who are doing like a little, drinking speakeasy, they get attacked by vampires. And, white vampires, black people, black humans, you can see the symbolism there a little bit. So I was like, oh, no. But it wasn't anything like that. In fact, it's really good. If they had not even put vampires in it, I think I would have enjoyed it just as much. Because the first, 30, 45 minutes, no vampires. They don't even talk about vampires. I mean, maybe they mention a little bit here and there. But just about 2 brothers who left Chicago after being thugs, and now they want to open up their own speakeasy. They're moving back to their own hometown down south and want to have their own speakeasy for their people. Somehow I've got the hiccups all of a sudden. Anyway, so they do that. So they're building up, trying to get the wine, trying to get the location, trying to get musicians, trying to advertise. And to be honest, I remember turning to my nephew and going, I would watch this movie. I would just watch, regardless of the vampires, I would watch this movie. But when they brought in the vampires, it's a little different. I mean, From Dusk Till Dawn did this too. If you don't remember, it's a bunch of bank robbers. They're on the run from the police. They go across the border to Mexico, go into this strip club, which turns out to be an infestation of vampires. Pretty fun movie. This one kind of gives it a little bit more deeper meaning. The vampires have a connection to music, and they are swayed by the banjo player, the young banjo player that the speakeasy has employed. All the while, yes, they are trying to kill people, eat people, turn people to their way and whatnot. But they're also dancing an Irish jig, doing a little trio song during it, and the whole show is about music. And to a vampire, music can bring back the dead, can bring back their past life, can help them remember certain things, can kind of cool their tortured soul. And it's really interesting. So, besides the action, besides the suspense and everything, and all the great characters, on top of that, they do a mid-scene, mid-credits scene at the end. And it takes place in the 90s, 60 years later, when the banjo player is a very old man. He survived. And the vampires who also survived, come to visit him. And they're not looking to kill him, they just want to hear him play. And so he plays for them. I think they give him a tip, they thank him, and they ask him if they can come back. And he agrees. And it is that the ending to, excuse me, I can't stop hiccuping. The ending to the movie is fantastic. However, the mid-credit scene even better. Now there's a post-credit scene of a flashback of him playing when he was younger in the church. I don't understand. I think they just had the footage and said, "Oh, we need to put that somewhere." But that I didn't care about that. But that mid scene even made for a movie with a great ending. The mid scene made it even better. Sinners is excellent and well worth your time. All right, quick break for station identification. Held my breath, and now I think I got them done. Boy, those hiccups are bothering me. All right, so let's see. Where am I? Number 3 now. Boy, I've talked about some good ones so far. Number 3 also came from Critical Drinker. It was mentioned among his Drinker Recommends or whatnot. And it was the first one I ever watched from him. I love this movie so much. Showed it to my family at the beach. We have a week-long beach vacation. And we're responsible for picking out one movie a night. Now, honestly enough, my mom picked a great movie one night from the mid-90s starring Hugh Grant. I can't remember what it was called, but I'd never heard of it before, and it was actually pretty good. Sometimes we try to pick some things that are stinkers a lot of the time, but we're just trying to pick a movie we haven't seen. And this one was so good, I made sure to put it in there again, watch it with them again. They were ho-hum on it, but me and my nephew think it's one of the best movies. My nephew, on renting movies, he probably put Sinners number 1, but this movie would probably be number 2 for him, and it was The King's Tide. Folks, The King's Tide. You can watch the trailer for this, but you don't have to. It's about a bunch of fishermen, a town living on an island, and they find this little baby. And the baby has the ability to heal you of any ailment. So flash forward 10 years later, this 10-year-old girl is just healing everyone on the island, and the island's become self-sufficient now because they don't need a doctor anymore. They don't need to go into town. Plus, they're fishermen. So whenever she sticks her hand, and all good things happen around her. She sticks her hand in the water, all these fish come, enough to feed them for the whole winter. But something happens on the island, and she loses her power. And now the story is, what does the town do now that they've relied so much on her healing power? What do they do now? And their own autonomy on the island. And it is phenomenal. Phenomenal. The movie has this, I can't explain it. I'm not going to ruin it. But something happens. The tension is really high. And then, bam, something happens. And you're like, what's going on? Because then it cuts away from the scene to the beach. You're like, what's going on? Then it shows back at the scene. And as the camera's pulling back, you're thinking different things. It's like an onion being pulled back. You're thinking, oh, that happened. And the camera's still panning back like, no, this happened. And then the camera keeps panning. You're like, oh no, that happened. I mean, it is just, I mean, I remember us first watching it. My nephew and I said, oh, 3 times. And each time it got bigger. We're like, oh, so-and-so did it. Oh, wait, no, blah, blah, blah. What? I mean, we were just going nuts. The ending's fantastic. It's fantastic. My parents, my family who watched it, they thought it was okay. I was like, what? So obviously their tastes are different than me. I thought it was fantastic. King's Tide. I don't even know what some of these are streaming on, to be honest. I don't know where you can find some of these. But I know that going back, let me just mention that Whiteout is from a book, I think. And it's like every time I told people, because me and my nephew on Sundays, we watch a movie. That's our movie night. And we'll tell people what we're watching next week or that current week on movie night. And whenever he said Whiteout, we're like, oh, from the book. Oh, I've always wanted to see that. But no one's ever seen it. I did. It's great. Running Man, great. Sinners, great. King's Tide, great. We didn't rewatch Sinners. I didn't show them Sinners. Even though I would have been fine if they wanted to see it. To me, King's Tide was better. King's Tide just brought it. Like I said, you don't need much action, but you got strong characters. You got this dilemma, and you start thinking. It's a good movie makes you think, gee, what would I do in that situation? And that's what the King's Tide does. It says, ooh, what would I do in that situation? And that's what it had me thinking about the whole time. And I love movies that do that. And The King's Tide definitely brought it, which is why it is number 3 on this list. Number 2 is a movie that I should have seen. Both of these movies. Now, number 1 and number 2. The reason they're number 1, and the reason this movie rose up to number 2, because I'd forgotten about it and went, oh yeah, that was a good movie. And then went, no, this is a great movie. And on top of that, I should have seen it in theaters. Now, Whiteout, King's Tide, Sinners, maybe I should have seen Sinners in theaters, but I'm not too upset by it. But F1, I should have seen in theaters. I should have seen it. I heard good things. I heard it was like Top Gun by racing, and boy, they weren't kidding. It is not even if you don't like Formula One racing, you would love this film. I mean, they made it for everyone. But if you're an F1 racer, I bet you would love it even more. I thought this movie was unbelievably good. Brad Pitt is excellent. Shame on me for not believing in the almighty Brad Pitt. The rest of the cast is just so good. The action, the drama, the tension, the story, everything about it from top to bottom. And I had a teammate at work who went to go see this, who would not stop raving about it. And I thought, you know what? To be nice, you're probably overreacting. You saw a decent movie. You think it was a great movie, but I don't think you know what a good movie is. No, this was like a Top Gun Maverick. This was a great movie that all audiences can appreciate as well. And it is really good, not just shiny like a Marvel movie or whatever else they put out. This one was really solid. And I remember telling her after I saw this, I said, look, I saw this on video, and I have to admit, you were right. It is excellent. I know, isn't it? And she was just so happy that I got to see it. But I thought it was absolutely, absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal. Even the camera work, the angles, the shots, and in fact, I loved how they put the cameras in the race car, on the wheels, as you're driving, on the tires, getting the feel. You feel like you're in the car. And I know that was the purpose of the shot. And it worked. It worked. You felt like you were in that car. You were riding along, and they got great shots where it's driving on long stretches of track or on curves or on turns. And the whole time you can feel it. Now, I don't know. I don't have what's called a 4D theater. I never even knew this existed until this past year. But people have these seats. You pay extra for the seat, and it rattles or moves. Or one guy said during Scream, it would stab the back of your seat, whenever someone died. How it gets programmed like that, I don't know. The first time I saw those was this summer. We were watching Nobody 2, or maybe it's 2 summers ago when I noticed it. And I was like, what is a 4D seat? And you had to pay extra, $10 extra for it. But it rattled, and I guess during earthquakes or whatnot. Now, do you really need that? That's my question right now. Impromptu question, mid podcast here. Do you really need a 4D seat? One that stabs you or scares you or rattles, like the rattling controllers. When they made the rattling controllers, I thought it was cool. Yes, it feels more lifelike when my car slams into another car. My controller rattles. That's nice. It's cute. Is it necessary? Did it add to the charge? If it adds to the charge, I don't want it. Remove it. It's not worth it. That's the thing. The 4D seat, I don't care how much. Maybe $1 more. Maybe $1 more would be worth it, but not like it was a lot. It was maybe $8 more. But the thing is, though, I'm not paying for a 4D seat for $8 just to shake me around and poke me in the back every once in a while. certain movies like this, maybe if the seat's like moving with you and, like moving with the car, that would be kind of neat. It would be kind of neat. Would I pay the extra money? Still no. But would I like to sit in one of those seats? So what happens if you don't buy a ticket for one of those seats, that you sit in one of those seats? I'm sure they only activate it when someone has paid for the ticket. I'd imagine those seats don't just rattle and stab on their own. You have to activate the row. I'm assuming that's how it goes. I know nothing about these 4D seats. And they do exist. If you think they don't exist, they do exist. Look them up. But for me, I just don't think they're worth it. Okay, so where am I? That was number 3. No, 2. 2, yeah. So number 1 is a movie that, I'll just go ahead and say it. Sketch, okay? Little girl draws scary, colorful, not so scary, monsters. And yet, through magic, her sketchbook comes to life and terrorizes the town. Now the kids must stop the make-believe monsters, the crayon, charcoal, chalk-coated monsters. And it seems like, oh yeah, this is it's pitched as like a children's horror movie, Not that scary, but with monsters and kids fighting the monsters and stuff. A little cutesy. Probably watch it once, you'll forget about it. I saw it and went, that'll be... By the way, their poster or whatever was terrible. Oh, well, not as good, I would say. It just didn't do them justice. All the ads and stuff. It just didn't... Because the monsters look kind of goofy and cartoony. But I remember going to the theater this summer, seeing Sketch was playing in theaters and going, I'm not going to take the girls. But when that comes out streaming, we're going to watch it. Well, it came out streaming. I watched it. I turned it on for the girls. I wasn't even going to watch it. I was going to turn it on for them because they're little girls. They love to draw. The magic of your artwork coming to life, yada, yada, yada. I get it. It's all good and fun. And I thought, well, it can't be that much to it, right? So I was working on my laptop as it was streaming. The movie started. I kept looking up, and then closed my laptop after like a minute or two because I was laughing so hard at some of the opening dialogue. I ended up watching the whole thing from start to front. My girls had to tell me to be quiet because I was laughing too hard. It's a great comedy. It's got some heartfelt moments. It's brilliantly shot. It is a masterpiece. In fact, if I'd have seen it in theaters, it'd have been my number 1 movie of the year. No doubt. Last year I talked about, last year too, how all these old movies were winning, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Back to the Future, which was my number 1, and then Grinch. Sketch would have beat it all. Just because I was so impressed. The story is brilliant. There is an inside joke. There's a nod to a classic horror movie that is, the setup was right there in front of me during the scene. And when they mimicked a scene from this popular, I'm not even going to ruin this part because I think it's so brilliant. But when they mimicked a scene from a horror movie, I mean shot for shot for a minute, I wanted to smack myself in the forehead. I was like, how did I not see that coming? I was enjoying the movie so much, I didn't realize they were about to shoot mock one of the most famous scenes in horror movie history. And it was brilliant. I mean, absolutely brilliant the way they did it too. I mean, everything about this, like the colors on the screen are hyper saturized. So the green is super green. The brown's super brown. The water looks so daggone blue that in a scene when the kid sticks his hand upon, I thought he was going to pull it back and have blue dye all over his hand. I was like, this got to be blue hot dye. I didn't know what. I was like, man, what is up with these colors? They're like super bright. It's like watching a bright Target commercial ad with all these generic colored shirts and jeans. And that's when I realized, Sketch, colors. It's a very colorful movie. That's the tone of the movie. Man, I was impressed. And by the way, for people who still don't think this is for them, because you got to rent and buy this. You got to rent or buy this on streaming. It doesn't stream free. It's from Angel Studios, a Christian company who should have no business making good movies. And now I'm interested in watching all their movies from here on out. I think their quality has just skyrocketed. This movie is so genius. So anyway, it feels like an 80s movie in that the kids have to use super soakers to fight off the monsters. Now, this makes sense. This makes perfect sense because the monsters are made of crayons, chalk, marker, whatever. So super soakers to wash them out. And that's how they're killing them. But, of course, when they smash them or blow them up, they revert back to their regular form. Sometimes it's chalk, so you have chalk, marker, dust, painted dust or whatever. Excuse me. She used sparkles for one creature. So by the end of this film, they're getting more and more, instead of blood and guts, their shirts, their pants are getting like stains on them, like little color powder stains or paint stains. That's supposed to symbolize blood, right? Because these are monsters and you're killing them. But it's a children's movie, and they're made out of coloring material. So it's that color material, which is what will splatter on you when you kill them. Absolutely brilliant. The kids, excellent actors. In fact, there's some the humor. It's not just cute humor. It is hilarious humor. I could not stop laughing at some of these jokes. And they were just smart. They're smart jokes too. The movie doesn't spoon feed you. It basically walks you through it, and it's just wonderful. Such a wonderful film. I was thoroughly entertained the entire time. There's another scene. Oh, there's a little. You think you know where it's going. You think you know where the movie's going, and then it's not a twist. They just made you look. They kind of fooled you. Again, it's not a twist. It wasn't meant to be a twist, but it's like you thought we were going to do this, but we didn't. We zigged when you thought we were going to zag. And the hiccups have come back to me all of a sudden. But either way, I'm moving on. That ending was so good. And the movie as a whole was so good. I remember just kicking myself. I should have brought my nephew to see Sketch. Now, to be told, my nephew, I've tried to get him to sit down and watch Sketch with me. He does not want to do it. He's looking at the cover like I did and thinking, that looks like a stupid movie. But it's too bad because he's missing out on one of the most brilliant movies I have seen all year long. I sing praises to Sketch. Anyone who has seen Sketch, based on my recommendation, has told me that was one of the best movies I saw last year. Just because it shocked them. One couple came up to me and said, hey, we're rarely on the same page when we say we love that movie. He said, my wife and I looked at each other and we just smiled and we went, this is a fantastic, he said, we both agreed it's a fantastic movie. Usually she likes it and I thought it was okay, or I love it and she thought it was okay. He said, very rarely do we come together and say, that was an excellent film. He said, you made us do that with Sketch. I went, oh, great. He's like, what else you got? Now they want to hear my other recommendations. But to be honest, Sketch was the top of the mountain for me. There was nothing else better that I saw on streaming. And there's probably a lot of other things I've forgotten over time. I'm not counting TV shows or anything like that, new TV miniseries and stuff like that. But yeah, for me, Sketch is where it's at. So if you can get it, rent it, watch it, you'll love it. All right, so in the comments, you got to let me know. Was there a movie that you watched on streaming this year that you really loved? Just to let you know this, I did think for a very short time, I said, what if I do a top 5 things I'm looking forward to seeing streaming, because a lot of movies stream these days. But the thing is, though, it's really hard to get an idea of what's coming out streaming. And on top of that, it's just not a familiar field for me. So I'm still not opposed to doing these once a year, like maybe at the end of the year or at the first of next year, like I'm doing right now, and recounting the movies I saw streaming, because that's kind of where, we watch a lot of stuff at home now. So I can't give my top 5 what I'm looking forward to, but I think from here on out, first of the year, we may go ahead, or end of the year, I may go ahead and talk about the movies that I loved. Excuse, I got hiccups so bad, that I did not see in theaters. That's what I'm going to do. So it could be streaming or movies, which I just let pass to the streaming services, which I do, 90% of the time. I live next to a movie theater now, and I rarely go. But anyway, that's it for now, folks. Happy New Year, And I will see you next time on Saturday Morning Samoflange.